So this week, Arrow have released another nice special edition.
Yep.
We're going to talk about it, and that is the mighty RoboCop, which we both have picked up, although we picked up different versions.
Yeah.
And you didn't bring your version.
I didn't. There was a bit of miscommunication. Who's got what? And I had you've got the steel book, and I got the the box one with the book and everything.
So
in it.
there's two versions of basically the same film with the same stuff on there, two discs. And one's the steel book, which I've got, and you've got the box set, which has more
a bigger book and some lobby cards and a poster.
And it's a 4K scan, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it was done a few years ago by MGM anyway. I mean, it's already been released. They released a remastered Blu-ray a few years ago. I don't think there's a great deal of difference. I think maybe it's slightly brighter, and I think the director's cut sections they weren't quite as good quality. And they're still not, but they look slightly better on this version. I think not a massive amount, but yeah, I mean it still looks great.
When we do these Blu-ray reviews, we don't talk about the film, although we might just skim over it a little bit. But it's kind of one of those ones that I mean, Arrow done. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago they released American Werewolf in London. So occasionally obviously they were known originally for putting out kind of more obscure films.
Yeah.
But then over the last few years they've got bigger, so they're kind of putting out more well-known films, but still, I suppose culty type films. And when I saw that they were doing this one, I was like,
got to get it.
I mean, this. So we won't talk about the actual film, but this for me is like
it's top 5.
Well, I mean, almost it's like one of my favourite films ever. I mean, I saw this. This is the first 18 rated film.
I think it might be the same for me actually.
So I saw this. I had a friend who I've spoken before about on this channel because he used to get me into trouble. He invited me around to his house one Sunday, and I'll never forget this film because it literally blew me out of the water because it was so graphic and violent, but the violence in there was so realistic, and unlike anything. I suppose if it was my first 18 rated film, didn't have much to compare to, but it was so visceral, and I never, the whole stuff. I mean, it was cut as well. I have a feeling it was.
I don't think it was cut on VHS.
Not cut on VHS.
I mean, obviously,
then I saw.
I don't think so.
Then I saw it all in its glorious, gory detail. But I'll never forget, Murphy being murdered in that brutal way, and then when being taken down, on the trolley, and then in the operating theatre, all that blood. The blood looked so realistic. I mean, it really did something to me. This film, and I've seen it so many times over the years, and it's such a great film.
I mean, on paper, it should just be a really cheesy B movie.
It shouldn't it?
It's like about a robot cop.
Yeah.
In a future that's sort of an indeterminate future. They never say what year it is, do they?
No,
but it kind of looks like now. Well, it looked like the 80s. But I think because of everyone involved, Verhoeven was, I think it was his first US film, wasn't it?
His first
he wasn't even sure about doing it at first.
No.
But, he's a great director. It was, it's got a great script, amazing effects. You've got Rob Bottin in there doing the suit and everything. Phil Tippett doing the Ed 209, the stop motion stuff. Yeah, so and just a great cast all round really. All the bad guys are perfectly cast. Kurtwood Smith is you love to hate him. He's such a great bad guy. I think some of these guys were like playing against type, and they you could tell they really relish the
they were
roles.
So much fun, weren't they? But it's really nice, and they've got there's some nice new. Some interviews on there. Yeah. There's a really great interview with a superfan, a French superfan, which is a really fascinating little, just short. It's not really a documentary. It's just an interview with him, and he's talking about featurette. There we go. He had a friend who had a collection that then sold it, and he starts buying all these like props and memorabilia from the movie. And he says in that, which I never knew, that this image, which isn't the same image on your one. No. Obviously, this is the original poster, and it was a black and white photograph, and they airbrushed it, which you can see. Actually, I never realised that.
It was, it's difficult. It looks like a photo, but not quite. So I assumed it was a painting, but now now you can see it is a photo, but they've airbrushed it, and that's why it has a sort of painting quality to it. But it's one of my favourite posters actually.
Yeah, and it's such a simple. Yeah,
I mean, again, so many sort of similar kinds of films in the 80s had really cheesy posters.
Cheesy white posters.
It just it just doesn't nothing about it. I don't think it has. Obviously, made in the 80s, and it feels very 80s. But I don't think it's aged
No, I don't think it has. I think no, and I think it's again, it's the content to it, and it's just so many. It feels original. It still feels original today. You know, the section where he takes, you know, I think in this they actually refer to it as like the third act face. I think they call it.
Yeah.
And so when he takes off his mask, which is, and again, when I first saw that, I was like,
it's just flawless, isn't it?
How do they do that?
It looks like his face stretched over metal.
Totally, yeah. And nowadays, obviously, they use CGI. And I think that's the other thing with RoboCop is that, so, you know, obviously Terminator is another one which is similar in that era. But in Terminator, when... so there's two shots which are similar, actually. In Terminator, when he cuts his eye out, obviously they're using a fake head.
Yeah.
It looks fake.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But in this one, that shot, isn't it? I think the shot where he gets shot in the head... is also an
It is a prosthetic, animatronic.
A prosthetic animatronic, but it looks so realistic.
It does look, but then that is quite a quick shot. That is also moving.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not, you know. I think I'm sure it was Peter Weller that when he watched it, he said, "I don't remember filming that," and they're like, "Yeah, because you didn't, because that's not you."
It's amazing. It's amazing. I think it's just for me. I mean, Terminator's a great film. Don't get me wrong, and it's got some wonderful stuff in it. But I think this everything feels so realistic. And the violence, something about the violence, they do say in here that obviously Paul Verhoeven came over from Europe, and so he had a kind of different take on it. It's almost like violence has a consequence in his films, as opposed to, say, you know, James Cameron and people like that, who were more about just kind of violence, not for violence sake, but, you know, it was kind of more cartoon book violence. And you know, Paul Verhoeven had obviously grown up through the Second World War. He was a bit older too, so his violence had different kind of consequences, and they talk about, as in one of the featurettes, they talk about kind of the difference between objective and subjective violence, and I think it's some really good stuff on here, and I think that's why this film maybe lives on in a slightly different way, but it is also absolutely revolting. It's got some great stuff.
I mean, obviously, you know, the director's cut does add even more gore. So when you know Kinney gets shot by Ed Toronide, he just keeps shooting him when there's just blood everywhere, and Murphy's death is a bit longer. And when Clarence gets stabbed in the neck, there's a close up of the blood spurting out.
I mean that was also iconic because I remember at the very same I think it was after this. So this came out '88, wasn't it? 87. There was a band from the early '90s called Silver Bullet in this country. They were a rap, like a hip hop group, British hip hop group. And they released an incredible record. They only ever released one, and on that there is a track called 20 Seconds to Comply, and it's literally they quote the beginning of that track is that whole section.
I remember that actually.
And it's an amazing track, and it's very dark, and it's a really great record. Bring Down the Wall, something. So it's got quite a long title, but the record is quite. It's not like American hip hop, or even I suppose British hip hop is nowadays is more like grime, but it's quite an industrial sounding hip hop sound, and there's lots of quotes from horror films. I think the soundtrack to Halloween is sampled in there. It's a really great record, and so again, when films kind of really become quite cultural things, you know, when other people start sampling them, that you remember them from that as well. And I listened to that record. That song over and over and over and over. I put it on tape, and it's a really great record. So of course, you know, RoboCop's very firmly seated in my consciousness.
You know, compared to again a lot of similar films from the time, you know, RoboCop has endured. You know, it obviously spawned comic books and cartoons and TV series, and obviously sequels as well. The disc that is limited to that, because there is a 1-disc version as well, which is just the director's cut. So in that one and the box set, you've got the theatrical cut, but it's also got some other stuff. It's got the TV cut on there, and it's got some comparisons, like side by side, between the director's cut and theatrical cut, so you can see each scene where there's been stuff added in or alternate shots, and the same between, I think, the theatrical and the TV cut, so it will show you what the original scene was and what it was for the TV edition. And I think there's recently discovered alternate takes as well for the TV version. So those, you know, it's not not essential, but it's just, you know, digging really deep into all this stuff. You know, it was filmed, so let's, you know, and it's available, so let's put it on there. And, you know, it's just
there's also, I mean, I was going to mention, there's a really nice, I think it's new to this, it's a nice tribute to the composer, Paul Doris, that's right. Because again, the soundtrack is incredible.
Yeah.
It's just such a moving score that just fits so well with the film, because it's got film music historians talking about it. It's fascinating. Little feature.
I mean, he did some great scores. He did Conan as well. Which,
he did. We spoke about. He did something else. We spoke about once.
I can't remember what that is off the top of my head.
I can't remember. No,
but
so yeah,
I think all the extras. There's loads and loads of extras. I think it's basically got everything that's been on previous releases. I think the only thing it's missing is I think it's about half-hour behind the scenes thing called Flesh and Steel, that I'm making of.
Right,
but I think you can watch that on YouTube. So if you're that bothered, or obviously you could go and pick up the old DVD that is on there. But I think that is the only. I think that is the only thing that's missing off that. Everything else that's been previously released. I'm not sure if about the commentaries actually. I think that maybe the one that's on my Criterion DVD is slightly different to the ones that are on there. I'm not 100% sure though. Lots of content that will take hours to go through,
and just or just there.
I'm sure that French guy will have every edition and every extra available.
Yeah, probably. He's got an amazing, massive. It's like 3 meters by 2 meters. It's a massive
poster,
French release when it was first released in France. Poster, and he just pieces it together.
Like 2 minutes of him
unfolding it. You're just like, oh, what? It's such a great poster. Look at it. It's a great poster. Yeah. It's a great film, and if you don't like it, do one. So,
indeed.
Anyway, so we'll stop there because it's probably gone on way too long for a Blu-ray review.
Yeah.
But it's a classic film and we love it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite scene from RoboCop?
Oh God. Probably something with Clarence Boddicker in it, because he's so great to watch. I don't know. Difficult. Probably when they kill Murphy.
Yeah, it's great stuff. I do. Yeah. I love when he goes out for the first time and you get all the thank you for your cooperation. Those great. I mean, it's got great lines. I'd buy that for $1. What a great line! It's just got everything about this film is perfect. Everything about this film. So we'll stop there. I think you realise that we like the film.
Yes.
Yeah, and we could carry on talking about it all night, but we have other things to do as well.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there.
When he melts.
Well, he melts, and then the car hits him,
yes.
And you're like, really? How the hell did they do that? Because his face just kind of goes up. It's absolutely revolting. So that was Arrow's recent release of RoboCop, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, let us know in the comments below.
Hit the subscribe button up there, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. There's some other videos to check out over there. Come and find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and join us again soon for another video.